I'm like, just 4 days ago, I got that last client and I'm filled up. So
Completely
in
booked.
2 months, I basically, in some ways, with your guidance, I picked my niche. I got all the information I needed to move myself online, and then I filled my schedule.
Oh, it's gonna be a great day. Taking steps in a big, big way. Charge what I'm worth, I've got no delay. Yeah, it's gonna be a great.
Welcome, you guys. So today you get to hear a success story from one of the incredible tutors inside of our community, the Insider Secrets Club 3.0. Now, what if you could get started with your online tutoring business and in just a few short months, almost be booked solid? That is exactly what's happened for Angela Marie D'Antonio. And I'm so excited to be able to share her success with you guys so you can see what it looks like and know that it's possible for you too. So, thank you for joining us today, Angela.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into the whole world of online tutoring.
Okay, so it's been a little bit of a convoluted path, but I think it mostly started. I homeschooled my kids starting in
Uh-huh.
2013. I've been homeschooling them since then. So they're in high school now, but started at preschool. And so that led me to a lot of teaching and education. And one of my daughters was diagnosed with dyslexia. So I also had some things with working with her with dyslexia. And then the last 4 years up to mid 2023, I worked for a homeschool curriculum company. So I did sales for a homeschool curriculum company and just found that the job over time was not letting me grow in the ways that I really wanted to. And also I just
Mhm.
had some complicating factors in my family, health issues with my parents, and so I decided to stop all the traveling and stay closer to home. So ultimately what I had done is I threw out there that I was doing this, and in some ways my kids are my best advertisement. People in town know that I homeschool. People know that my kids have had a lot of success with homeschooling. And so that brought in a bunch of tutoring students. So I was just piecemealing it together. I had a couple reading
Yeah.
students that I was using the Barton method with, like my daughter. I had a kid I was tutoring in math, a couple preschool kids, just throwing it all together and some income and experiment. And
Sure.
then ultimately, what happened is I attended your Impact in January of 2024, the conference, and there was talk about niching down. And I was like, yeah, I really probably should do that. And I did realize that the piece that I enjoyed the most was the reading tutoring. And then I joined the Insiders Circle as well as Jumpstart because the ideal of moving things online to me was very appealing as well. Mostly because
Yeah.
it allows flexibility of where I am when I'm teaching,
Hmm.
because my kids are going to fly the nest pretty quickly here. And I like that.
Yeah.
I also just found that kids trolling through my house all day, there were a lot of shared colds, flus, and things of that sort that I really couldn't
Hmm.
afford with taking care of my parents. So I basically, February 1, started with Jumpstart. I decided reading tutoring was the part I really enjoyed the most because the results of that are just so fast and rewarding. So I picked that as my niche. And then I started pulling in online clients. And I actually, you probably don't know, but like a few days ago, I just actually completely booked my schedule. So I'm like, just 4 days ago, I got that last client. I'm filled up. So
Completely
in
booked.
2 months, I basically, in some ways, with your guidance, I picked my niche. I got all the information I needed to move myself online, and then I filled my schedule. So it's
Oh
been
my gosh.
a wild ride.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting because I know that's everybody's dream is to really book their tutoring business solid. We can do a lot of things on our own, and then we start realizing a bunch of the stuff that we don't actually know. And then we start following like a group of people that have figured it all out. And then all of a sudden you're okay, that's all I needed. I just needed people to show me what those steps were and
Yeah.
to know that I'm not alone in this. And
Yeah, and just
so
the
awesome.
time savings with between you and the other members of the group pointing me to this is the software you want to use. This is I could have tried lots of things and it would have all taken time, but being able to know the pathway to get where I needed to be, just that's what really made it so that I could do this at this kind of rate. I'm still kind of
Yay.
astounded.
Hey there, tutor heroes and sheroes. I've got a little secret to whisper your way. Remember how I swore I would stick to my old tutoring platform unless something truly groundbreaking came along? Well, it seems like the universe was listening because I have spent the past year getting acquainted with Koala Go. And let me tell you, it has been a game changer. Imagine transforming the tutoring experience into an immersive 3D virtual adventure where kids don't just learn, they thrive in an engaging, hands on environment. while ago isn't just another platform. It's a revolution in educational technology. Now, here's the scoop. There's 4 standout features that have both me and my students absolutely hooked. Picture this: a dynamic, interactive whiteboard where ideas come to life. Kids can actually shuffle post it notes around, much like they would on Jamboard, making learning an active, participatory experience. Who said learning can't be an adventure? With Koala Go, there's a playground where students can skate into classrooms, turning every lesson into an exhilarating journey. And we can't forget about co-browser functionality where you no longer have to juggle control with a shared mouse. In this digital space, every student has their own mouse, paving the way for seamless collaboration and exploration of resources for upcoming activities. And the cherry on top, gaming and rewards. So students can earn gems, reap rewards, and even play games with a built-in dice feature. It's not just learning, you guys. It's an entertaining quest for knowledge. Koala Go has redefined what it means to learn, making it fun and captivating for kids. At long last, there's a platform that truly is designed with the young learners in mind. A huge shout out to Koala Go for sponsoring this episode and making such a revolutionary tool available to us. Curious to see this magic in action? Click the link in the description and prepare to be amazed. Trust me, your tutoring sessions will never be the same. Tell me about, you talked about rate, but we're going to move on to a different kind of rate. We're talking about rate speed, but let's talk about rate. Are you charging the same amount now as you were when you first started dabbling into online tutoring?
No, not at all. It wasn't online tutoring. I was live tutoring, but I
Okay.
lived in a rural, isolated area, and I knew what I thought I could get in town. And I didn't really take in the costs in the way that I needed to. I had
Right.
a little bit of a padding for this time that I experimented with my career. But I ultimately realized just the cost of my time, the cost of supplies, the cost of continually educating myself, which is something that I really love to do, but also benefits my
Yeah.
students. All of that I was not factoring in appropriately. So definitely with turning on to the online students, my rates were changed in order to
Yeah.
take all that into account.
Oh, I love that because I think that's something that a lot of people don't want to charge too much. You always hear that a lot. Like, I don't want to charge too much for my services. I love doing this. And as long as I can get paid doing what I love, that's all that matters. But we don't really think about there's a cost to doing business,
Mhm.
right? And like you mentioned, there are all these different costs, along with we have to pay double taxes, right? We have to pay
Yeah.
as a freelancer, you have to pay the taxes that a company would pay and you have to pay your income taxes. So you got double taxes there that are happening as well. So you really do have to take that into consideration when you are pricing your services. So how much did you start off when you began charging your students? What rate were you at?
25 an hour, I think.
Okay. And
Yeah.
now?
It's 75
Look
an
at
hour.
that.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
25 to 75 in 2 months, practically.
Yeah, I basically changed the formatting. And in some ways, there's some cost as well to moving the business online, programs and processes and things of that sort. But that's honestly the only way that I could make a reasonable living, I think. And I
Right.
didn't really recognize that when I started about all
Yeah.
the extras that kind of came into it.
And did you find that niching down then meant that you could save some money as well because you don't have to purchase all of the different resources then for all those different types of students?
Yeah, that was a piece of it, but also it allows me to concentrate my efforts too. So I really love math. I love math, but spreading myself across all the things that I was having to continue my education in all of those areas. And it thinned out me. And so if I'm able to concentrate on something and my continuing ed and my conferences and all of the things are concentrate on one thing, it actually makes me better at what I do. So
Right, yeah. Now
yeah.
you at the beginning of our Jumpstart program, you ended up creating a good goal, better goal, and a best goal. Do you remember what your goals were?
Yeah, actually, the funny part of my goals was that I was mostly on how many students. And then
Yeah,
later in the Jumpstart, you were like, oh, you should take your calendar and fill those slots so that you can see what that looks like and then book people in, have that visualization. And I'm very big on block scheduling too. So that appealed to me and my brain and how it works. And what I actually found when I put them in was that my best was actually completely impossible. So I basically hit my better goal, but the best goal when I was at the beginnings was impossible because you have to set out time for the other pieces of your business, right? Your
right.
marketing and your content and your like all those bookkeeping, all of those pieces, you have to have time for that. And it's so
Mhm.
you sure as heck can't do 40 hours a week of tutoring because then you have to do the rest of that on top of it. But certainly even 30 would be too much. There's no way to do that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have other pieces, so I still do consulting work from my old sales job.
Oh,
So
good.
companies that I used to work next to in like the vendor halls, do consulting work for them. I'm actually getting ready to go to a conference just to be a second pair of hands for a company, their booth. So I have that piece to my business too. So that's also making sure that I don't overdo it.
And that's the big piece because a lot of us are doing this so we can have a lifestyle, right? We've
Mhm.
created this business so we can have a lifestyle, and knowing what you want that lifestyle to look like is going to help you then with creating all of your how many hours am I going to work? How much money am I going to make? I bet you any money though, you're probably making more money than even if you had your best goal and you had still set it at $25 an hour. You've already reached like the income goal of that for sure.
Yeah, my income, even just since starting Jumpstart, has about tripled. There's a few pieces to
Tripled.
it. Some of it are
Wow.
these online tutoring students, but I still
Yeah.
have sales consulting work. And then I threw out there that I can do homeschool coaching as well. I think that's something that I might
Yeah.
build over time. Had people book in an hour of my time for homeschool consulting as well. So I have three pieces rolling simultaneously, but definitely since beginning of this year, I've tripled my monthly income.
Way to go. How outstanding is that? What does that allow you to be able to do now that you've been able to triple your income?
Don't know yet.
Still figuring that part out.
I'm one of those people who I volunteer to do things because it forces me to do them. So sometimes I have to work longer hours than I should. I actually work more for myself than I ever did for anyone else, which is fine because it feels so good that it's your own piece and your own business.
Yeah.
So I'm at those beginning pushes and trying to get all my systems in place and stuff. Yeah, enjoying that has not really happened quite yet.
But you are going to be able to start dreaming about some of those things that you want to be able to put in place in the future. What are some of those things that this brand new income can really enhance your life with, whether it's renovations on your house or paying for college for the girls? How many kids do you have?
Two girls, yeah.
2
Mhm.
girls, okay. So paying for college for the girls or whatever it ends up going, you have the ability to do that. And I know that's what some of the biggest blessings that I've had in my life is that my kids are able to go to college, debt-free so far, and I'm still able to have my dream come true too of being able to purchase that home in Cape Coral and have that retirement home when we decide we wanna be snowbirds. So I think it's really cool that we really can get very clear on what do we want to be able to do. Do
Mhm.
we want to just replace our income? Do we want to dream bigger? Do we want to just have the ability to travel and see our kids wherever they end up in the world? We don't know, but you have the ability to make it all happen when you're bringing in the amount of income that you want to be able to bring in. And it's
Mhm.
so exciting. What
Yeah.
are some of the things people who have heard about Jumpstart or insiders, what are some of the things that have really been the most helpful for you as you've been building your business?
Good question. So, one of the best parts of Jumpstart and Insiders is honestly just the people that are in there.
Mhm.
Very quickly, when I got into the group, people reached out to me. I was like zoomed up to the eyeballs. My kids had no idea what was going on because people were just reaching out to meet me, right? We would just
Yeah.
get on for an hour with all kinds of people and we talk about what we do. And so the group was really welcoming, but also, very helpful. There's a mastermind group in there and sometimes you just talking to other people, they'll come up with something and it's, oh, that's brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? Let me write that
Yeah.
down. Jumpstart walking people through the steps of building that business, building a USP, a unique selling proposition and things of that sort are things that I'm familiar with because I worked in sales. But
Mhm.
again, I hadn't taken the time to maybe do it for my own, like what I was trying to build.
Right.
And the website, like you had a template for us. So now I have a pretty
Yep.
beautiful website and it was a lot
Yeah.
better because the template was there.
Yep.
And there was a social media calendar that you created for people that gave people the prompts that they needed to start building up that. There were so many pieces inside that Jumpstart program that just saved me hours and hours of my life, right? Part of it would have
Right.
been figuring it out, but then the other part would have
Right.
been building it, whereas you had all those templates built in there for us, which really
Yeah.
were magical. So that I think that made a huge difference for me at least. Been a little shocked at how fast it's moved for me.
I know. I know. It's so exciting. Every week I would see like your name like coming on up on the leaderboard. I'd see you showing up on calls. You really gave it your all. And I think that's what the most important part is when people put the pieces into place that are put before them and they believe that these pieces work because they've seen the people who have gone through the program and the successes that they've had. When you believe it can work, and then you follow the process and it does work, you're like, what just happened? Just wants to know what's that one thing that I can do to get students? And it's no, you're on the wrong track because it's all these different things that we do that are going to let people know that you are getting students. And maybe there is just one, two, or three things you can focus on in the future. But you've got to try all these different things out first so you can figure out what those one, two, or three things are going to be for you.
The smart part too is that you keep trying to focus people on what's going to get you students, right? I'm as guilty as the next guy of spending too much time on Canva trying to get the colors right. You definitely keep bringing that message back. That's not actually going to get you students, right? There's
Right.
certain things that you need to focus on. Actually, the game of tutoring that you have in there as well is really useful. The checklists at each level.
Yes.
I blew from 3 to 5 in 2 months, but I had a checklist to follow. And because I'm a weirdly competitive kind of person too, so I'm like, game, I can win at this. So I get those checklists out and I'm marking them off one at a time, like as I can go through
Yeah.
it. And so in some ways, you've created a blueprint. This is what you need to
Right.
do. And in this order, almost the
Yes.
most important piece of it is at the end of each level, you're like, don't do this at this level. You focus people on what is going to get you students, what is going to get you where you
Right.
need to be. You can worry about the fluff later. And so the best part of it is at every level, you tell people what they shouldn't be focusing on as well. So not only is there
Yeah.
a template of what to do, but there is also what not to do.
The biggest mistakes that people make at those levels that are really important. And because I've seen it over and over again, that's why I was like, okay, I do have to let people know what not to focus on at this point. In step one, everybody wants to do their business card. Do not do a business card. You're probably going to change your website 3 times before you
Yeah.
decide on what your website URL is going to be. And so to create those business cards right out of the gate, it's not going to be the most lucrative move for you. And you can save a little bit of amount of money of waiting till later to see if you even need business cards. Because for someone like you who's going to different conferences and stuff, and you are networking in person, the business cards can come in very handy. But with online tutoring, we're not doing a lot of in-person networking. And so to have these business cards that people are just going to throw away doesn't help. Instead, we grab their information, right? Because if we contact them, they're going to be that much quicker to be able to move forward with our services if they are a potential client.
And it puts you in
yeah.
charge too. You're not just sitting at home
Mhm.
waiting for an email to come in, right? If you've got their info, it's much more
Mhm.
useful.
It's so much more useful. It's so much more useful.
Yeah,
For
I just
sure.
finally ordered business cards because I'm going to be conferencing for the next 2 weeks. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
perfect.
I'm glad I waited because my flyer has had 3 iterations. And so just like you said, your information for a while, things kept changing, right? And then I
Yeah.
was using the Tutorbird website that was with my account for a while. And now I
Mhm.
built a one of my own. There were all kinds of pieces that really needed to be in place because I could have easily printed 3 sets of business cards, just
Right.
like I did my
And then
flyers.
they sell you on the extras because they're like, no, it's only $5 more to buy 100 extra or something like that. So then you're just sitting on a stack of 500 business cards. Again, in your situation, like that was perfect that you waited till now to do that. You're at level 5 now, like you said in the game of tutoring. To go from level 3 to level 5 in just 2 months is significant. And I am just so excited for you. You guys, because Angela has moved up 2 levels, I sent her a mug that'll be coming in the mail any day now. So she'll get to see. It says, I'm leveling up, which is so exciting because that's what she's doing. She's leveling up in her tutoring business. If somebody were to go back in time and give you the advice of do not join Jumpstart, knowing what you know now about the program, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I can't imagine why somebody would tell me that for sure. It is. And even from people in the group who have done it several times, because there's a lot of people who do it every time it comes back. Everyone says that it keeps getting better, right? There's even benefit doing it again because you add more
Right.
content and more value every time. And my accountability partner is already talking about doing the next one. I can't even think about that right now, but oh yeah, no, I know that there's things that I haven't been able to do during this time. 'Cause again, she's been very successful. I think she's fully booked as well, which is amazing. And the funny thing is, even for the cost of it, it has saved me that in a half hour to an hour
Yep.
instead of
Mhm.
hours and hours of figuring out what to write. And so all of that alone, that saves you hours of your time. So every piece of
Yeah.
it, the website, I would never have built, I think I have 8 pages on my website at this point. I wouldn't have built an 8-page website in a month if I hadn't had a template to use. Yeah.
I'm so glad that was useful. When I saw your website, I was like, I love it. It looks amazing. It's like the first time that I actually got to see like the template used that I created with Ben.
Mhm.
And I was just so excited when I saw it. I was like, yes, this is exactly the information that everybody needs to have on their website. It doesn't have to be super long and lengthy, but it has to be enough that touches each person's pain point and what it is, like their dreams that they are looking to get for their child. And your website absolutely did that. So congratulations. It looks absolutely fantastic. What
Oh,
advice would you give other people who are thinking about joining Jumpstart or Insiders who they haven't joined yet? They're on the fence. They're like, maybe I'll do it next time. I'm not sure.
again, it will help, as it's called, to jumpstart your business. If you know that this is something that you're committed to and you want to build your own business, this will give you the blueprint and
Yeah.
it'll get you there. And if you're able to put the time then that I did, then I think you can get the same thing out of it that I am.
Yeah, and it does take time. So and I think this is an important piece of it. This is not something that you go into lightly, but if you are looking to replace your income, okay, then you need to already that you need to put time on into it. And a lot of people use time as the reason why they can't I can't do it. I don't have time. If you don't have time to take on new students, you don't have time to build your business. So I always tell people, like you had mentioned before, if I want to be able to tutor students, and let's say I want to take on 5 students, put them on your calendar where they would fit on your calendar. Where would they fit? What are the hours they'd fit? And in the beginning, those are the hours that you're working to build your business. You can't do that. If you can't take on 5 students, then this probably isn't going to be a good fit for you because you're not going to be able to put in the time that it's going to take in order to build that online presence throughout the year. And it does take time to build up all these different pieces online, but once you have them in place, they're in place. They're in place. People will be able to go on there. They'll be able to research you. They'll be able to find the information. They'll be able to feel confident that they're hiring the right person to work with their child. And it's an amazing opportunity for everyone. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Angela, with
Yeah.
us and letting people know what's possible with their business. Because to go from level 3 all the way up to level 5, from going from having a few students to being fully booked, that is what so many people want. And you did that. And you did that in a very short amount of time, just 2 months in, and you're completely fully booked. So congratulations and thanks for sharing your story with
Thank
us.
you. Thank you.